Today we're talking about the top 25 vintage posters that you can find. Common ones, ones that weren't made to be collected. Hey, it's Don. Today we're looking at posters of all sorts. We're going to show you the top 25 most valuable ones that are selling right now.
Remember when Kevin hot-wired the doorknob? Excellent! And Marvin got the iron drop square on his head? Yes! And Harry got the feather treatment? Awesome!
Right now, when you buy the new Home Alone video, you get this free poster so you can follow the action every step of the way. $24.98 or $5 less with Pepsi rebate. Supplies are limited, and you wouldn't want to miss this.
Now, movie posters come in all different sizes. This one here behind me is an actual movie poster for an IMAX theater locally. Now, this is on Mylar. This is obviously a Harry Potter. It's an original from when it played at the Detroit IMAX. This is the big one that you would have seen in the lighted box. So I said this is Mylar or some sort of plastic film that this is on. So when you light it up, the background all lights up in it. It's really an awesome looking poster, to say the least. This would be called a double sheet, maybe even a little bigger than that. Most double sheets are 40 by 60. Now, I grew up in the 70s and I watched a ton of the early Disney movies. One of my favorites was the Computer Wore Tennis Shoes. Look up that one. It's got a very famous person in it. This is for Emily and the Detectives. Now, most of these oddball titles were low-budget movies. They didn't have a lot of famous people in them. They just cranked them out. Not saying they're bad movies or anything else like that, but most of the posters like this aren't worth much money. 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks. But there are some out there, say an original Fantasia, that can go for some crazy money. Thousands, tens of thousands of dollars if you have the right one. Now, they make posters for pretty much anything you can think of. At the movie theaters, attractions, theme parks, grocery stores, even at the pharmacy, you can find posters advertising things. Sometimes posters like that are worth some money. Now, this is one from the Disney theme park system here. This is Adventureland, Enchanted Tiki Room. Very well collected item here. Now, this is one of those phenomenal examples. Many of these were only made for display at the park, but those sorts of things are available. You will find them, like this poster here that went for over $15,000. Now, obviously, music-related ones can do phenomenally well. I buy them, I sell them. I have some in my own collection. These are some early REM ones, just to give you an example, but most of these earlier ones can hold some phenomenal value. We'll show you some as well that go for some monster prices. Nirvana is at the top of the list right now with new movies, documentaries out right this very minute, and they're selling for some phenomenal prices. This one isn't even in that great of condition. It is missing pieces. These would have been tacked up on the wall on a telephone pole or something like that all over town where they were playing. He actually designed some of these himself, hand-colored them in. They were printed off on a Xerox machine and posted that way. And this one sold for over $10,000. And yet another Nirvana one here. This one's selling for over $3,000. And again, it's just a piece of paper that they probably printed off themselves. It has some staining. There's some tiny holes in it. It's missing some corners from being taped onto something as well. Here's a classic Soundgarden Pearl Jam, classic alternative grunge here, all the way over from the West Coast. Awesome poster, great color scheme as well. This one sold for thousands of dollars also. 90s music is hot right now of any type, and anything like this from an original performance or show or anything like that will sell for some big bucks. Now, before they actually released Star Trek the Motion Picture, this actual poster here was available in the back of catalogs like Starlog, Famous Monster, and the whole works. Something that I actually ordered when I was a child. Now, this isn't mine, but this is an original from '76. These posters are extremely hard to come by. In some cases, these posters are harder to get than the actual movie poster for Star Trek the Motion Picture. Some of these were only released in limited quantity based on how many people ordered them. And just like with almost any other category, the classics always stay up on the top. This is Star Wars, the original release from 1977. Now, there's many different poster versions of this one here. Most all of them will be marked on the very bottom here. Now, here's a very rare one indeed. This is original Revenge of the Jedi movie poster. Now, George Lucas actually changed the name to Return of the Jedi, as most people would know. I've had a few of these. They do show up, but they're very scarce. They do command a premium if the condition is great as well. Now, sometimes the poster can have dual tie-ins. This is by Stedman, the artwork on this, which is a very famous artist that worked with Hunter S. Thompson. And this is a poster for Where the Buffalo Roam. It's an original one. There are similar posters to this same design that were released when the book actually came out that look very similar. So you do have to pay a little attention to this. Here's an early Bob Dylan one, back when he was performing at colleges, campuses, and universities as well. From the University Regent Theater. It has the location, the time, and the whole works. This one went for $3,000+ also. Car dealers are another source of massive amounts of posters. These are promotional ones. These are for the actual 30th anniversary of the Mustang. These are official by Ford, actually only available from the dealership. A lot of these sorts, again, will carry a value. So there's many reasons you can run into posters. They don't have to be tied to movies or anything like that. Most early car advertising posters are worth some decent money. This is a Steve McQueen poster advertising a Porsche. McQueen was a major car and motorcycle fanatic. Many of the actual stunts in the movies were performed by him. He did the motorcycle jumps in The Great Escape as well. Very phenomenal artist here in my book. Most of his posters like this will go for some good money. You can find posters advertising performers of various different types on car and automotive posters, and they garner some big bucks, like this $3,000+ poster here. War and military posters are another area that can go phenomenally well. Loose lips might sink ships. Tons of these. Uncle Sam needs you, Uncle Sam wants you. All of those sorts of posters can go for some phenomenal money. There's multi-people that would collect them. Advertising collectors, military collectors, as well as patriotic and promotional poster collectors. Many magazines as well, in an effort to make extra money, would market and advertise posters that were licensed through people such as the Beatles here. This is a poster set that was available from Life magazine. It's an original Beatles set, well over $3,000 as you can see. Excellent condition. These are larger size posters. Artsy, obviously from the psychedelic 60s era. Now, pinup posters of any age do extremely well. This is an original Raquel Welch from the 1960s. This is a primo type of poster. It doesn't have to be tied to a movie. If it's in good condition like this one here, they can go for hundreds of dollars as well. Now, this one is by Personality Posters out of Yonkers. This is one of the name brands that I look for in these sorts of posters. Now, here's another one from the 1960s by Personality as well. This is Rudolph Valentino, if you are unaware. Classic poster here. These are sought after. They look incredible framed in an office. That's why, again, some of these sorts of posters can go for hundreds of dollars, like this one right here. Now, many of what was hot back when these first came out, like this 1974 Rex Features original Bruce Lee poster here, are still hot today. Bruce Lee right now is as hot as he was back in '74, if not hotter, when this poster first came out. Always grab up these sorts of posters. Most of these are going to be dated and well marked. The quality will be there. It's on thick paper as well. These aren't cheap even back then. Sports ones, especially ones advertising tennis shoes or sports clothing and marketing material, go phenomenally well, like this Converse poster here. Look at the condition of this poster. It is not in great condition. The bottom is pretty well beat up, but this is an original Sports Illustrated tie-in poster. It does even look like it's sun washed out. Maybe it's bleached a little bit from sitting out in the sun. It still did go for thousands of dollars as well. Now, even in the movie poster area, there are some that garner a higher price for various reasons. A lot of people like the foreign ones. I'm a big fan of the Japanese movie posters from the 70s and 80s. I truly love some of the early Godzilla ones, especially from the original 50s and 60s releases. This is a Spanish version of the Back to the Future poster here. This one sold close to $3,000, as you can see. Now, here's an interesting one tied to the surfing community. This is from 1963. This is a John Heitzman. It's very well done. It's graphical. It's unique. The words fill in the space of all sorts of places you could go to surf back in the day. It's an interesting one. It sold for several $1,000s. Posters are also another thing that's universal. You can find posters all over the globe for pretty much anything. Sporting related ones like this Winchester self-loading shotgun poster here goes off the hook. Some of these can sell for $10,000 and $15,000 if it's an original and earlier one too. All of them are sought after. The artwork is amazing. Even in not as great condition, they can still sell for thousands like this one here. Movie posters in general do extremely well for us. You get the right movie poster, the right markings, the right release, and they can sell for thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, I picked them up for all sorts of different movies. Movies that I recall when they first came out. I worked in a movie theater, so I've always loved movie posters. Older classics do far better. Specialty ones like this show up far fewer. There's not many IMAX across the globe here, so the IMAX versions do go for a little more money for those who want the massive size posters like this. Classics, of course, do the best. All of these probably hung in a movie theater at some point, so there's something that's collectible. A lot of them will be folded, and that is not an issue with most of the posters that I run into. Now, one of the hottest movie ones I see selling right now are some of the Abbott and Costello original ones. This is from Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Now, all the horror classics were in the Abbott and Costello series. You've got the Wolfman, Dracula, the Mummy, and Frankenstein appearing in them. And on top of that, it's the original actors like Boris Karloff and Lon Chaney Jr. playing the characters in these movies. The posters are all selling for thousands of dollars now. As I said, there's different styles of posters. Here's another one for the very same movie, as you can see. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, but this is much more graphical, and you can see Bela Lugosi. You can also see Boris Karloff on here. Lon Chaney is in here as the Wolfman as well. So this is an interesting, unique one. Different designs. There may be 4, 5, 6 different designs for the very same movie, for the very same size poster, like this half sheet here. Now, age isn't even always a factor. Some are hot just because of the sheer design or the artist that did them, like this Mondo Lounge Atomic Frolic poster here. I really like this one. This was a unique mid-mod century. It has that appeal to it, but it's fairly new. It's still sold for several $1,000s. Now, many times even local television and radio stations will donate much of their older merchandise, clear out space, or they're moving, or whatever the case may be. And actual TV show posters like this one here will show up. Now, this is a Steven Spielberg Red Band Society advertising poster here. Now, one thing to consider about most of these posters, they weren't meant to last. Like this Scarce Revenge of the Creature here. It's basically the creature from the Black Lagoon. I believe they made 2, maybe 3 of these movies, and they're all highly sought after. Obviously, the original one is the most expensive, but most people will have to settle for one of these because you just won't find the top-notch original ones from the very first release. Now, modern day cult classics do phenomenally well right now also. Like this original 1997 from The Big Lebowski, The Dude. You can't go wrong. You gotta abide by The Dude on this one. Several $1,000s, almost any one of these will go for if it's the original international release version of this. And as a comparison to The Big Lebowski selling for several $1,000s, A Rebel Without a Cause, the original movie poster, James Dean and Natalie Wood, only sold for $2,000. So the age of it obviously doesn't matter. You can compare price by price, Rebel Without a Cause to The Big Lebowski, and they're about the same value, decades apart though. Now, you can find posters for all sorts of different things. This is a black light poster, Psychedelic 60s original, with the black light on, and if you were under the influence of some certain substances, this would be moving and pulsating and the whole works. These are pretty cool. This is an original one. They all have markings. There's quite a few companies that made them as well. Most of them can go for a lot of money. Now, even in the world of blacklight posters, there's some very specific ones that are well sought after for various reasons. This is a Marvel Comics. This is a Hulk one right here. This is an original from 1971. It's a licensed product, as as you can see here. Again, with the black light on, this thing is pretty cool. A lot of these posters in mint condition can go for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. You can't go wrong with most of the vintage blacklight posters, like this original Led Zeppelin poster here from 1969. Most of the head shops, record shops back in my day, you could purchase blacklight posters as well as the blacklight itself. Led Zeppelin was one of the hottest bands even back in the 70s and 80s. These posters were still being sold by the thousands. And as you can see, it sold for top dollar also. Now, subject matter, many times people might think that some of the adult-natured movies like Deep Throat here may not carry that sort of value. This is one of those fringe style of posters that is collected by lots of people. This is one of the first classic ones that was well known, mass produced, and you could get merchandise like advertising like this one here. This one usually sells for at least $1,200 plus, all the way up into several thousand depending on the condition and the size. So don't look the other way on these sorts of posters. They still do sell for some phenomenal money.
Post Cocoa Pebble cereal, part of this complete breakfast. Now you can get a Flintstones movie poster free.
Oh, Fred.
Free movie poster inside marked boxes of Pebbles.
Now we're going to show you one of those secret treasures out there that most people are unaware of. It's one of the rarest posters out there that most people walk right by. Now this poster here is a very scarce poster, and it looks identical to most other versions of this exact one also. But this one was recalled because it shows a pack of Lucky Strikes in the poster, and they did not have Lucky Strike's permission. So if you look carefully, you run into enough of posters, you have a good chance on still finding one of these. They printed thousands of them before they recalled them, and many of them were already out. It was too late. This is one of the most missed modern day posters out there right now because of that. Many people will walk right by it assuming it's not worth much money, because most of them aren't worth much money. But this recalled one that shows the Lucky Strikes, as well as the book she is reading, are the reason this is so collectible. Not many of them got out there, and all the newer versions after this do not have those graphics in it. Well, there we have it. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
My Rainbow Bright brand cereal. A yummy part of this complete breakfast.
2, 1, look out!
I'll ground those gloomy guys.
I see colors. Yeah, black and blue.
Fruit flavor in each colorful bite. Rainbow Bright.
Here's a colorful offer from Rainbow Bright. This Rainbow Bright movie poster will brighten up your room. Free with one proof of purchase seal plus 25 cents postage. You can see box for details.